Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members are participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with the phone number that you originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on that item. To ensure audio clarity, I suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies, and I will be chairing today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Nadini Sankar Peralta, Paul Kidd, Asif Khan, and Ron Hunt. City staff are also present. Excuse me, Kelly Reed and Adam Wills. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if desired. If the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak on the item. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent proceeds first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. To ensure that a revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application until it has been substantially revised. And individuals either in support or opposed to the application are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This marks the end of discussion on the item. The application is then taken into committee for a decision. Are there any committee members here this afternoon who have any conflicts of interest they'd like to declare? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 30, 16 St. Ives Avenue. I'm acquainted with the agent.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kidd. Anyone else? Mr. Hunt?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a conflict with item 41 as I'm familiar with the owners.
Okay, thank you.
What item is it?
Item 41.
Thank you.
Item 41, Mr. Khan.
Thank you,
That's,
sir.
31 St. Denis Drive. Okay, thank you very much. We'll now proceed to we have some deferral requests. We'll go to item number 38, 77 Walder Avenue. There is a deferral request on that particular application. And I have actually 3 people registered to speak. The agent is Sarah Barclay. Are you there?
Yes, hello.
Yes, Ms. Barclay?
It's Sarah Barker.
Yes, thank you. You're asking for a deferral?
Yes, we are requesting a deferral today. We're in the process of making some revisions to the proposal to address some of the concerns that were brought up by the neighbors. So we'd like a bit more time to complete these changes and then have a discussion with those neighbors about the revised drawings and variances.
Okay, thank you, madam. I also just wanted to, there's a report from City Plan 2021, and they were recommending refusing variance number 4 regarding the 3-story request. I would suggest too that you may want to discuss with these issues with city planning as well.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We have a number of...
We have...
I'm sorry, madam.
Sorry, I was just going to say we have had discussion with planning, but we will be amending our application to remove that variance as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we have next person on our list. I have a Jennifer Langley or David Rumor. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, it's David Rumor who will speak.
Okay, Mr. Rumor, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
It's David Rumer, R-U-M-E-R, and I'm at 78 Walder Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just wanted to ask, do you have any objections to the applicant's request for a deferral?
No, but I'd be curious to know of the process. I mean, will
Well,
the
what
applicant be?
happens now is they've requested a deferral because they want to make changes to their application. When that happens, it will be resubmitted to the committee, in which case another notice will go out to the neighborhood indicating the variances that are being requested. It could also be that they're proposing, they could make changes and not require any variances at all, but if they do require new variances or altering the variances, then they will be, another notice will be sent out to the neighborhood and another meeting will be scheduled.
Okay, thank you. That
Okay, thank you.
clears things up.
Thank you. Next person up is David Ullman. Are you there, sir? Mr. Ullman, are you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I was muted, and I don't know if the video is functioning or not, but I am on WebEx.
Can I get your full name and address, please, sir?
My full name is David Ullman, and I am a resident at 80 Walder Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do you have any objections to the applicant's request for a deferral?
If the deferral is not granted, will the committee reach a ruling today on the variance?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
If the deferral was not granted and we proceeded with the hearing, I assume the committee would then rule on the variance. Is that correct?
No, we can't. If the applicant's requesting a deferral, it means he needs to change his application. So there'd be honest, there'd be no point in going forward with an application that they intend to amend.
Mr. Chair, I think David's asking is if the deferral is not granted, will the committee hear the file?
Yes, if we don't grant the deferral, then the committee would be obligated to hear the application. That's correct.
And will the current staff report that's connected to this application for a variance follow this developer into the next hearing?
Well, it could be, like I said, I don't know what changes they will make to their application, so there could be new comments submitted by city planning depending on what changes are made to their application. But if there are changes made that may trigger a response from planning, then we would get new comments from them.
think, we are very concerned with this variance, but I think we also would like to have consultations with the builder, so we would accept the deferral at this time.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on the deferral request, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Having listened to the applicant's request and the concurrence of the neighbors, I would move for approval of deferral sine die to give them an opportunity to revisit.
Thank you
the
very much, Mr. Hunt.
variances.
Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been adjourned to the next available meeting so that you can revise your application and so that you can discuss your issues with city planning, and I also suggest you discuss it with the neighborhood as well. We have
Thank you.
thank you. We have a request to close the file at item 42, 18 Keewatin Avenue. And I have actually two people registered to speak on that. The agent is a Jeremy Cole. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, if you bear with me for one moment, it does not appear that Mr. Cole is on the call at this time. It should also be noted that they did not officially register properly.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll hold this one down, Mr. Wills.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll reach out to them in the meantime, too, to try and explain to them that they must attend the meeting to request the closure in person.
Thank you, Mr. Wills. Okay, we'll go back to the first item on our afternoon agenda. That's item number 24, 11 DONCLIFFE Drive. I have, just a moment here, one person registered to speak.
And they are present on the call, Mr. Chair.
Pardon me?
They are present on the call.
Thank you. I have an agent registered, that is a Cassandra Richardson. Are you there?
I am here, yes.
Yes, thank you very much, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure, it's Cassandra Richardson, and it's 198 Rosalina Drive in Schaumburg, Ontario.
Okay, thank you very much, madam. I had note that there's two variances before us today. With regards to the proposed rear yard platform. I note from your file that there are no comments or recommended conditions from staff. I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for in your application. I'll just ask though, madam, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
No, not at this time. You have everything that we've reviewed with city planning, and our neighbor to the east has reviewed the design and the concept and is in agreement with it, who are really the only ones affected.
Okay, thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I believe that I could grant, I'll put a motion to close this file. Thank you.
Approve the file, madam? This is a, we're not closing this one, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm confused.
No, what happened was item 42, 18 Keewatin Avenue, the agent is not here. So
sorry.
we had to defer it.
I didn't hear that, so.
We're back on.
Okay, I'm going to withdraw my motion because I'm clearly, I was confused by this.
No, that's fine. We're on item 24, 11 DONCLIFFE Drive. Okay, so at this one, we had no recommended comments or conditions from staff. The agent just spoke. They had nothing more to add than what's already in the file. So if I could get a motion on.
Mr. Chair, there is someone from the public that is present to speak for item number 24. Doug Ying is present on the call.
Hang on just a moment.
Hang on.
They're I don't have them listed as.
Good point. They are the owners. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if I could get a motion on item number 24, 11 DONCLIFFE Drive. Thank you, Ms. Sankar.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Sorry about that confusion because I'm having a hard time hearing, but I have gone through this file and in advance as well, and I'll put forward a motion to approve this application.
Thank you. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved. Without condition.
Mr. Chairman, can we please go back to the application that's going to be closed? If the
Okay,
agent doesn't need to be there to close the file.
Okay, we'll go back to item 42, 18 Keewatin Avenue. Let's find the agent here. The agent is Jeremy Cole. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, they still aren't present on the call, but as the chair said, we could go ahead and close it.
Okay.
They're asking for the file to be closed so the agent doesn't have to be present.
Okay, well, we have someone registered to speak on it. So is there a Joanne Finnegan there? Joanne Finnegan, are you there?
Mr. Chair, she was present on the call, but it appears she has since dropped off the call.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have, committee members, we have a request to close the file at 18 Keewatin Avenue. Again, there's no one here registered to speak on that particular issue, but if I could get a motion on closing the file. Ms. Sankar?
I'll put forward my original motion to close this file.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. That file is closed. Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Back to item number 25, 152 POYNTZ Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is Hamid Behesht. Are you there?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Arjang Behesh from Homeland at 49 Wycliffe Crescent.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have, just going through your file, I know we have two reports, one from City Planning, one from Transportation Services. The one from City Planning is dated the 9th of August. They have no objections provided that the proposal is constructed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings submitted to the committee, included as attachments 1 and 2 to their report. There's also a report from Transportation Services dated the 12th of August, and they have no objection to the reduced parking stall length. Sir, have you had the opportunity to see those two reports?
Yes, I have, Mr. Chair, and we're completely in agreement with the conditions they've stated.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in the 5 variants we have before us. Just to ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
Well, Mr. Chair, I have a 5-minute presentation prepared. If the committee would like to see the presentation, I'd be more than happy to present it, or if there are any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them as well.
Like I said, I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask the committee, does it have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on the application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Staff has recommended, as you have read out all these conditions from the staff. So I'm not going to repeat that one. To me, it looks like it's a straightforward application which should be approved with conditions set forth and as read by you.
Okay, you recommending approval, Mr. Khan?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Someone to second Mr. Khan's motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries. Sir, your application's been approved subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the committee members.
Thank you. Item number 26, 22 HESKETH Court. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is Amal Benham. Are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, Mal Benham, there is no user under the name Mal Benham, nor is there a user under the supplied phone number that they gave us. It should also be noted that the agent did not register.
So we don't have an agent to present.
At this time, we do not. The local area resident is present on the call, though.
Okay, sounds, Mr. Wills, that there's no ability to get hold of this person, is there?
I can try and reach out to them right now if we want to stand it down for a moment.
Hold this one down. If you have
Okay.
success, let me know.
I will.
I'll move ahead to item number 27, 462 St. Germain Avenue. I have two people registered to speak. The agent is Nafisa Zangiabadi, and I'm sure I've mispronounced that. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon.
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Nafisa Zangiabadi, and address is 30 Apple Orchard Path, Thornhill, L3T3B6.
Okay, madam, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. It's you sound far away. Can you speak up?
Sure. Nafisa Zangiabadi.
That's much better. Thank you. I'm going through your file. I know we have a couple of city reports here. There's a recommended condition from Urban Forestry. There's a report from City Planning dated the 6th of August. It recommends modifying variance number 6 for the proposed side exterior main wall height from 9.2 meters to 9 meters, modifying variance number 7 for the proposed building length from 20.9 meters to 19.38 meters, eliminating variance number 9 for the proposed front yard setback, and reducing the proposed lot coverage in variance number 10 from 35.39 to 33.6%. They're also recommending modifying variance number 1 for the proposed east side yard setback from 0.61 meters to 1.2 meters. Madam, have you had the opportunity to review that report?
Yes, we did, and we also had the opportunity to talk to our immediate neighbors. So we're making some modification to the application.
Okay, madam, could you tell the committee what those let's go through the notice, and can you tell us what changes you're proposing?
Sure. Variance number 1 to be changed to 0.9.
Okay, so hang on, right now, the proposed east side yard setback is 0.61 meters. That's what you're requesting. You're proposing to change that?
Yes, we're proposing to change that to 0.9 meters.
0.90 meters, okay. What's the next one?
The next one is variance number 6, main wall height.
Okay.
To be reduced 9 meters as per staff request.
Okay, that's to 9 meters from 9.2 meters?
Yes.
Okay, what's the next one?
Variance number 7 for the building length to be reduced to 19.38 meters.
From 20.9 meters?
Yes.
Okay. Next
Variance
one?
number 8. Variance number 8 for the building depth to be reduced to 19.41.
Okay, hang on just a second. Variance number 8. The depth, okay, right now it's 19.7, hang on, 19.76 meters, and what are you proposing?
19.41.
19.41. Okay, and after
we are removing variance number 9 for the front setback.
Hang on just a moment. Okay, the front yard setback, you're changing that to?
We are removing that.
To which?
We are eliminating that variance.
Hang on, you've lost, you're not, are you changing variance number 9?
We are eliminating variance
you're
number
deleting
9.
it, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Anything else, is that all of them?
Yes, and coverage to be reduced to 33.6.
Okay, so it's right now, you're proposing 35.39%, and you're reducing it to what?
or actually, now that we're removing the side yard setback, it's going to be 32%.
Okay, 33.6%?
No, 32%.
32, okay.
Yes.
So it's going from 35.39% to 32. Is that the extent
Yes.
of the revisions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give the committee a presentation on what you see are the merits of these revisions, if you could please do that.
Yes. The application is to construct a new two-story dwelling. And we had some back and forth with the planning department. They were concerned about the setback. So was our immediate neighbor to the west, sorry, to the east. Our neighbor to the other side, which was the west, is happy with the proposal. We have their letter of support. We got it actually 2 days ago, so we were not able to upload it, so you won't miss it, but we already have that here. And we had some conversation with our neighbor to the east, and because of their concern, we are reducing the side yard setback on that. We're actually increasing the side yard setback on that side to 0.9. And so variance 3, 4, and 5 are for the deck. They're minor, and staff didn't have any comments on that, and our neighbor was happy with those two. Variance number 6 for the main wall height is due in part to the height being measured to top of the parapet wall. So basically the height on the side of the eaves is about 8.5 meter. And length also, since our neighbor had some concern and also the staff had some concern, we did reduce it, which also affect the length. And the reduction in the setback and the length affected the coverage, so our coverage also got reduced to 32%. Variance number 11 and 12 are just under the old bylaw measured from the center of the road. And as I said, we removed the front yard setback variance. So if you look at the drawings, we are aligned with our neighbor to the left, which is a new construction. We tried to not go over that, and we also comply with the front yard setback. And the 32% coverage and the setback that has been approved in the area and compatible with the decisions in the area.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just so I'm clear on the revisions, variance number 1, the city suggested that you change that from 0.61 meters to 1.2 meters, but you're suggesting a change to 0.90 meters. Is that correct?
Yes, and our neighbor was fine with that. So we're keeping it at 0.09, and there are about 6 or 7 decisions in the area in the same street actually that they got 3 feet on each side. So we're not the only one requesting that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? We'll go to the next person on the list. I have Anka Puy. I'm sure I mispronounced that, P-U-I-U. Are you there?
Hi. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can I get
Hello?
your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Anka, A-N-C-A, Puyu, P-U-I-U, and I'm the neighbor at the east, 460 St. Germain Avenue.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Yeah, so we had some conversation over the last couple of days, actually even this morning with the owner and the builder and the architect. And we appreciate that they have reduced some of the variance as per city request, but I still have a bit of a concern with the depth. If we can keep this picture on the screen, I'm talking specifically about the length of the building, which is number 7, variation number 7. A person speaking before me, I think it's the agent representing them, says that they are in line now with the house to the west, but the fact there is a cantilevered portion, so the base, the basement portion of it is in line, but there's a cantilevered portion of the building that actually if you can see, lines up with our deck. So my concern is, because the city requested them to put 1.2 meters distance from the east side, and they only put 0.9, and this coupled to the fact that the building sticks out so much, as you can see, we will not have any sun on that deck, and also we will be having a sort of a bunker effect. So I was talking to the owner earlier. They said they will try to reduce that as well. So I would appreciate if we could give consideration to either moving it further to the east, so putting the 1.2 variance 1, or if not, coming back in the length so that we don't have that blocked in effect. We're basically, from our deck, we're going to be looking at a wall, very tall wall for that matter. So that's my concern still.
Okay, thank you very much, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go back to the agent. Madam, are you there? Ms. Angiabadi, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Can you hear me?
You heard the comments from
Yes,
the previous speaker?
Yes, I did. Just a quick explanation. The reason that we're a little further back from their house is that if you look at the site plan, our house starts almost 3 feet further back from their property line. And so even if we wanted to comply with the bylaw, we would be about 1 foot further back from their house. So part of this length variance that is affecting their deck is because the location of our building and complying with the front yard setback. But since we have spoken to them and asked and promised them some modification to the length, I will be willing to reduce the length from what I originally said, 19.38 to 19 meters. So reduce it for another 1.5 feet. So variance number 7 to be reduced to 19 meter.
No, hang on. Madam, are you proposing to make another revision?
Yes.
Okay. What revision are you proposing to make now?
Variance number 7
okay,
to be reduced to 19 meters.
Okay, it was originally 20.9, and you reduced it to 19.38. Now you're saying you're reducing it further to 19.0?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that was their concern, and we are willing to have a good relationship with them, so we will consider that. Yeah.
Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, before we do a motion, I'm just going to go through these revisions to make sure we've got them correct. Variance number 1, which currently reads the proposed east side yard setback is 0.61 meters. That's being increased from 0.61 meters to 0.90 meters. Variance number 6, which is the proposed height of the side exterior main walls, which are currently listed at 9.2 meters, is being reduced to 9.0 meters. Variance number 7, which currently reads the proposed building length is 20.9 meters, is being reduced from 20.9 meters to 19.0 meters. Variance number 8, which is the proposed building length, which currently reads 19.76 meters, is being reduced to 19.41 meters. Variance number 9, which is the proposed front yard setback, that is being deleted. Variance number 10, the proposed lot coverage is 36.39% of the lot area. That is being reduced from 35.39% to 32%. So if we could get a motion on this revised application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I was having, again, a hard time hearing, but I think I followed everything carefully. And I do believe with the modifications made by the agent here today, that meets more or less the vision that the staff report, I believe, was recommending. So I'm going to motion to approve this application with the changes that you've already stated before my motion. And I will also make it subject to forestry. And I'm just checking to see if there was anything else that was needed from the staff report, and I don't see anything else. So that would be my motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Mr. Wills, have you had any luck with item number 20, the agent for 22 HESKETH Court?
Mr. Chair, yes, the agent is present on the call now.
Okay, thank you. We'll go back to item number 26, which is 22 HESKETH Court. I have Agent Amal Benham. Are you there?
Yes,
Can I get your full name and address, please, sir?
it's Mel Benham,
Okay, thank you.
and it's 180 Sheldon Drive, Cambridge, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note that there's a comment on file from City Planning dated the 11th of August. They appear to have no objections, provided that variance number 4 regarding the exterior stair and variance number 5 regarding the platform setback are deleted. Are you proposing to delete those two variances?
Yes. That is correct.
Okay.
We have done that in recent plan.
Okay, thank you, sir. So variance number, let me, bear with me here. Variance number 4. Which is the proposed stair toward the deck are 12.8 meters wide. That variance is being deleted. And variance number 5, which has the proposed west side yard setback is 1.36 meters. That variance is being deleted as well. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Mel. That is correct. We have submitted the revised
Sir,
plans that have already been approved.
Sir, there's something wrong
Yes.
with your phone. You keep going in and out. Do you have any other electronic devices turned on at the same time? Just speak into your phone.
Yes, that is correct, and drawings have been
Okay,
submitted.
Okay, that's better. Do you have any other changes you want to make to your application, or is that it?
No.
Okay, thank you. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in your variances, but we do have one other person registered to speak on this application. So if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Mr. Chair and members, before we go any farther, it does not appear that the area resident is on the call.
Okay, thank you. So we have no deputants. Thank you. I'm sorry, sir, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
No. No, we're good.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. Could I get a motion on this revised application, please? Please note that variances number 4 and 5 have been deleted as requested by planning. Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the proposal as amended meets the purpose of the zoning bylaws, and I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application as amended to eliminate variance number 4 and 5.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, sir, was approved subject to urban forestry condition. You have an urban forestry condition on there as well. Okay, item number 28, 31 Newton Drive. I have one person registered to speak, a Gordon Cumming. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
It's Gordon Cumming, 27 Laurel Parkway, Toronto.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note that there's a couple of pieces of correspondence on file with your application. There's a report from City Planning dated the 10th of August, which recommends refusing variance number 4 for the proposed maximum building height, refusing variance number 5 for the proposed side exterior main wall height, variance number 6 for the proposed maximum building height, also recommends modifying variance number 1 for the proposed lot coverage from 32.47% to 32.1%, modifying variance number 2 for the proposed first floor above the established grade from 1.61 meters to 1.32 meters, and modifying variances number 3 for the proposed front yard landscaping from 56.6% to 57%. And we also have a letter from Councillor Filion dated the 19th of August in support of Planning's report. Just wanted to ask, sir, the recommendation from Planning to refuse variances 4, 5, and 6. Does this effectively send you back to if we refuse this, would this effectively send you back to the drawing board?
Well, I'd like you to look at the AIC for
Sir, can you
August
speak
16th.
up?
I'd like to look at the AIC for August 16th and another one from the 24th of July, where I've amended all of those. We've resubmitted to the planner and to the committee a new design on August 16th, reducing all those variances.
Okay, but I wanted to ask, they're recommending that variances 4, 5, and 6 be refused. And you probably, that would effectively send your application back to the starting point. Would you like to defer this application so you can discuss this further with City Planning, or would you like to proceed today?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We already have. We've already reduced all of them and eliminated one of the variances.
Gordon, if you have some changes to make, Gordon, if you have some changes to make to your application that are different from the originally mailed out public notice, can you please read those into the record for us, starting with item number 1 and working through? Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so just be clear, you want your application heard today?
Yes.
Okay, so if you can, like Mr. Wills said, if you can please go through the go on the notice and go through the changes you're making to your application.
All right. Variance number 1, coverage that was originally 32 and reduced it to 32.1 based on the conversation with the planner.
Sir, it was originally 32.47%, so you're reducing it to what?
32.1, which was recommended by the planner.
Okay.
Variance number 2, the maximum floor established grade was 1.61 meters. We reduced it to 1.32.
Okay.
Variance number 3, front yard landscaping. As you said, it was 56. Then we changed to 57, but then we had an issue with the tree preservation. They wouldn't let us remove the tree, so we had to redesign the front driveway. And now it is at 58.7.
58.7%. Okay.
Yes. And variance number 4, the maximum building height was originally 10.4, then we reduced it to 9.2, and then finally, after a discussion on the weekend, we reduced it to 8.86.
Okay, just a moment. That's variance number 6?
Number 4.
Number 4, hang on. So it was originally 10.45 meters, and now you're at,
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. That's number 4 is the building height, which we reduced from 10.45, which is on the report, to 9.92. So we've eliminated that variance.
so variance number 4 is deleted.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just variances 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, correct?
No, and then 5, the building height, we had it at 10.11, and then we reduced it to 8.86.
8.86 meters from 10.11 meters.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And no change to number 6.
No.
Okay, thank you. Let's see here. Okay, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that that we have before us today?
Well, just that down the street at 108 Newton, they did get a side yard height variance of 8.8. So we think it's in line with what is going on the street. As well, that's a little parapet at the front. But if you come around the side to the soffit's actually about 9.45. Or sorry, 8.45.
Okay.
So it's just a portion, there's a parapet across the front that it's slightly higher.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. If I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Seeing that the good attempts that they've made, the agent has made to make the changes that's necessary to this application to address the staff report. I'm in line with supporting this application, and I'm also, I think it addresses, there was a counselor letter that was supportive of this, and the changes made would address that as well. And there were a number of letters of support as well. So I'm going to put forward a motion to approve or this application and make it subject to the changes that were already read out a few times to everyone. And that's it. That's
Okay,
my
thank you,
motion.
Ms.
Thank you.
Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 29, 96 ESGORE Drive. I have one person registered to speak, a Peggy Chu. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, hello, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. Peggy Chu, 124 Merchant Street, Suite 505.
Thank you, madam. I just note that we have one report on file from city staff. It's from city planning dated the 30th of July. They appear to have no objections to your application, provided that the property is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the committee, attached as attachment number 1 to their report. I note with respect to your application, it's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances we have before us. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
Nothing in addition. We did see the condition requested by planning, and the homeowners have no objections.
Okay, thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Staff recommendation I'm taking, and also the comments that you have made to approve this one, I go with it and make the motion that it should be approved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 30. 16 St. Ives. Mr. Kidd, you have a conflict? Thank you. I have 4 people registered to speak. The agent is a Mr. Peter Higgins. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Higgins. We have other persons registered to speak here, so I note that there are no staff comments or recommended conditions attached to your report, to your file. So if I could get you to give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
All right, thank you very much. I designed this house at 16 St. Ives Avenue for different clients a little over 20 years ago. And new client, I think the third owners now, Julie Coleman and Mark Wayne, have purchased it and asked me to help them put a small addition on the rear, on the first floor and the second floor. And the increase in the FSI is, I think, very modest, particularly with today's Lawrence Park FSIs. We would be at 0.491 versus the allowable 0.35. The 22 years ago, the C of A approved this for 0.44, which at the time was a pretty high number, but it no longer is. The balcony in question is slightly larger than the allowable 4 meters. It's 6.82 meters. There's been no objection from any of the 3 immediate neighbors who we have spoken with directly. We did hand deliver to approximately 12 neighbors a package explaining our intentions and why we needed the variances. And I'm sure we'll be hearing from some of those neighbors after I speak. The side yard setback, which is only 0.02, is reflective of a porte cochere, which you will see on the north side. It creates an entryway to the backyard, which is planned to be a beautiful courtyard for the family. And it also creates a covering for the side mudroom door. Now, the porte cochere is consisting of 2 posts, nicely detailed with a roof and a large pyramidal skylight in the middle. So it's pretty light and breezy, so to speak. And the neighbor most affected is Mr. Peter Weeks to the north at number 18. And we've met with Peter and spoken to him quite a few times. And as of quite recently, he has no issue with it other than he wants to make sure it's not built onto his property, which will not happen whatsoever. So that's the style of the house is essentially the same as it was. We've put a small breakfast room addition on, a small family room addition, small master bedroom, and a small master ensuite. And the reason why they're all small is because the clients don't need a lot of space, but the house as designed 22 years ago, when the FSI was much tighter, to get approvals, we had to keep every room a little bit undersized. And now the new clients would like to increase those modestly. But as I said, we've spoken to the 3 immediate neighbors as well as a neighbor across the street by phone. The other 3 have been personal meetings. And that's my presentation. I think this is very reasonable. And the fact that planning staff have no issues, I think is telling. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on our list. I have a Peter Weeks or Lucian Weeks. Are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, the Weeks family is not present on the call, nor is Lutz Fulgraf. With that being said, Ian Stewart is on the call, so we can go to him now.
Is a Mr. Ian Stewart there?
You hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
hello, sir.
Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Great. You can hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you, sir.
Okay.
Can I
Thank you,
get-
Mr. Chair.
Sir, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Ian Stewart. I'm the co-owner of 87 Rochester Avenue.
Okay, please proceed.
The Committee of Adjustment recently approved an application at the west side of my property, 85 Rochester Avenue. Today's application pertains to the east side of my property at 16 St. Ives Avenue. I've submitted a letter with conditional support. I request that the most recent plans and site plan dated July 26, 2021 be tied to the decision to ensure that additional changes are not made to the footprint of the house and garage during construction. Also, we want to ensure that the extensive stormwater management system, storm sewer on the property, which is outlined in my letter with photo, is protected from interference during construction. In addition, I've been given a proxy by the neighbor abutting the north side of 16 St. Ives, Mr. Weeks, who could not attend today's meeting. Mr. Weeks asked me to express his conditional support and concerns about a proposed covered portico on the north side of the property that will encroach on the north side yard setback. Mr. Weeks wants to ensure that a recent revision of the portico is tied to the decision. In addition, Mr. Weeks has asked that the plans and site plan dated July 26, 2021 be tied to the decision to ensure the integrity of the approved footprint and to prevent scope creep during the construction process. Thank you for your attention to the concerns of abutting neighbors.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get, we'll go back to Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins, are you there? Mr. Higgins?
I have no.
Yes, hello.
Yes, I'm.
You heard the comments from Mr. Stewart, if you'd like to reply.
Yes, I've seen Mr. Stewart's letter and I have met with him personally. We have no problem being tied to plans. And the stormwater management, which I vaguely recalled 20 years ago when the house was being built, Mr. Weeks was good enough to, Mr. Stewart was good enough to send a photograph, which has been put on file at the Committee of Adjustment, and it immediately brought back all of the issues that this property faced as being a low point in the Lawrence Park neighborhood within this block or so. And we have no intention of changing it. We're going to do everything possible to, in fact, improve on stormwater. And in terms of being tied to plans, as I said earlier, we're absolutely fine with that. There will be no scope creep whatsoever. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have of me.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I've listened to what the debutants have said. I do feel that, however, the application is presented to me and the explanations provided, I do accept. And so for that reason, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application because I do believe it meets the 4 tests. And I will make this, actually, I'm just going to approve this application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 31, 567 Mount Pleasant Road. I have 2 people registered to speak. I have Michael Plummer is the agent. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, sir. Before we start, I note that we have a number of reports from the city. There's one from City Planning dated August 6th. They're recommending eliminating variance number 3 for the proposed bike parking space requirements. My understanding is that's because you now comply with that requirement. There's a recommendation from Heritage Planning dated the 12th of August, recommending that before issuing a building permit drawings, including plans, elevations, and details, shall be submitted to the satisfaction of the senior manager of Heritage Planning. There's also a report which I wanted to ask you about. There's a report from Transportation Services dated the 9th of September 2020, and it requests deferral to prepare a parking study. And I wanted to ask, sir, this was a report from 2020, so my question is, why was no action on this taken by yourself or apparently Transportation Services? This is nearly a year ago. Can you tell the committee, like I said, this appears to be, we don't have an up-to-date comment, so apparently this comment must stand, but how come no action was taken by either you or Transportation Service to address this concern?
I actually believe it's just a typo, because I don't think this file was even there during that month. We received this report, I think it was the 13th of August of this year, and we actually want to follow their advice and request for a deferral, so we can provide them with that parking review.
So what I'm asking, sir, is do you want to defer this application so that you can provide this material to Transportation Services?
Yes, that's exactly what we want to do.
Okay, you want to defer. Okay, all right. I have a motion from, now we'll have to check, there's a deputant here.
Mr. Chair, they are not present on the call.
Okay, thank you. We have a request to defer the application so that the applicant can meet with Transportation Services and address their concern. Can I get a motion on this deferral? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to put forward a motion to defer this application sine die to give them a chance to work with transportation, but additionally to make sure that they're addressing anything to do with the staff report and heritage concerns as well.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can meet with Transportation Services regarding the parking issue. So you're deferred to the next available meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 32, 7 Versailles Court. I have one person registered to speak, and that is Zudong Tang. Are you there? Zudong Tang, are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, they do not appear to be present on the call at this time.
Okay, we'll move to the next item on the list. Item number 33, 14 Montcom Avenue. I have 3 people registered to speak. The agent is Joe Domb, D-O-M-B. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Joe Dome, 1101 Steeles Avenue West, agent for the owner.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, we have one report on file with your application, and that's from Urban Forestry. It's recommending your application be refused, as it appears that your proposal may result in removing a crabapple tree on private property. Did you want to defer the application to discuss this matter with Urban Forestry, or would you like to proceed today?
I'd like to proceed today.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have other people here registered to speak on this item, so sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, as I know, only one of the area residents is present.
Okay, we'll go back to his application, Mr. Wills. I have 2 other persons registered to speak, Mr. Dom, so if we could if you could give us a presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal, and you may want to address the issue of the crabapple tree as well during your comments.
Okay, yes. I'd like to begin by stating that the next door neighbors at number 16 had concerns about the side door facing their property, as shown in their letter submitted August 11th. And the neighbors and the owner have since discussed and came to an agreement to flip the design of the house so that the side entrance door will be positioned on the south side instead of the original north facing. And this change will satisfy the neighbors' only concern and would not affect the proposed variances. And the letter posted from the neighbors on August 18th confirms this agreement. Regarding the side yard setback of 0.6 meters on the north side, variance number 4, I'd like to point out that the reason for this is to accommodate an appropriately sized driveway on the south side leading to 2 rear yard parking spaces, which means that the side yard setback on the other side is nearly a meter greater than the bylaw at 2.75 meters. Furthermore, there are examples of much lower side yard setbacks on the street, including right next door at number 12 Montcom, which has a north side yard setback abutting the subject property at 0.15 meters. Additionally, a new duplex directly across the street, number 17 Montcom, was approved in 2018 for side yard setbacks on both sides, 0.25 meters and 1.07 meters, as well as 12 other variances, including an increase in FSI and a 0% front yard soft landscaping variance. For this application, the owner is requesting a side yard setback variance on only one side and an increased setback on the other side, and a front yard soft landscaping of 63%. I'd like to point out that although 2 of the 4 variances we're asking for refer to the side yard setback on the north side, the proposal was designed so it could meet the bylaw for floor space index, overall height, front, rear, and south side yard setbacks, and rear yard soft landscaping. Regarding the rear decks, they will have privacy screening as shown on the elevations, and the neighbors have no issues with the decks. We have 6 letters of support from neighbors on Montcom, number 12, 17, 18, 19, 21, and also 16 next door on the condition that the house being flipped around on the drawings. And finally, planning doesn't have objections to the application, and we feel that the application is reasonable in minor nature and meets the 4 tests. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll just ask the committee, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Mary Zuccarini. Are you there, madam?
Mr. Chair, Mary is not present on the call at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Wills. I have John Derek Trays. Are you there?
Yes, I am here. Yes.
Yes,
John
hello,
Derek
sir.
Trade, 16 Montcalm.
Yes, thank you, sir. If you could like to give us your thoughts on this application?
As the agent pointed out, yes, we have discussed with the owner that we are in agreement and accept the number 4 variance request as per the design change for switching the design and swapping out so that the door now, side door entrance is now on the south side of the property.
Okay, thank you, sir. So you have no objections to the variances?
No, not this time. Nope.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's good to hear. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to hear from the agents about the tree he's proposing to remove.
Okay, thank you. We'll go back to the we'll go back to Mr. Dome. Mr. Dome, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a question from Mr. Kidd. Can you give us some detail about the issue with the private crabapple tree? Is that being deleted or what's happening?
So I'm not sure what's happening in that regard, but we'll try to communicate with urban forestry and try to do everything according to their recommendations in order to satisfy them.
Okay, I'm just asking, does this tree have to be removed?
I'm not sure if that's the case. I'm not sure if that's the case, but basically we'll have discussions with urban forestry and try to satisfy, do everything we can to to make sure that that they're satisfied.
Okay, sir, you understand the risks associated with having to remove that tree. If urban forestry doesn't want to go along with it, you'll have to appeal to city council. You understand that? You understand the risk?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Given the uncertainty of how urban forestry will react, but the acknowledgement of the applicant that he recognizes that, and the fact that urban forestry may choose to refuse the removal of the tree in question, I would move approval of this application with a strong subject to the August 5th urban forestry letter regarding variance 3.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved subject to urban forestry conditions. Okay, we'll now go back to item number 32, which is 7 Versailles Court. I have one person registered to speak. That's a Zudon Tang. Are you there?
Hi, I'm here.
Yes, hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Xu Dongchang, and I am here to represent Sichen Yao, the owner of 7 Rosewell Court.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just wanted to, I've noted that there is one report on file with your application. That's from City Planning. It's dated the 11th of August. It has no objection to your application, provided that the front yard setback be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to their report. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
I have not read that.
Okay, well, sir, I
But,
suggest you read your own file before you come to the committee. But that's what they're recommending. Just wanted to ask, we have no one else registered to speak. You only have one variance before us with regards to the front yard setback. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
I have. Is it necessary? Should I do my presentation? It's
Sorry,
only one
you-
minor
if you,
variance.
if you want, you don't have to give us a presentation. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. You have one variance before us. I think it's pretty clear. The committee's clear on what you're asking for, but if there's something you'd like to add that you think isn't. in
Okay,
the-
so no, I'll just save your time. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe this application is minor and meets the 4 tests. For minor variance, I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to the conditions set out in the staff report dated August 11th, that the front yard setback be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to the planning report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All in favor? A motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item
Thank
number 34, 254 JOICEY Boulevard. I have one person registered to speak. That is Francesca Tisci. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ms. Tisci, I just note, just going through your file, I note that there are no comments or recommended conditions from staff. You have one variance before us regarding the rear yard setback for a platform. Pretty straightforward, I think, as far as the committee is concerned. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
Actually, no, nothing in addition.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan.
Thank you, sir. Although there are no staff recommendation, I find it a minor variance, and therefore I move the application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second Mr. Khan's motion to approve? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 35, 9 ANETA Circle. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is an Alan Borenstein. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Yes, thank you, sir. I just, going through your file, I note that we have one report from City Planning dated the 10th of August. They appear to have no objection to your application in that it's consistent with previous committee approvals. In view of the fact that we do have someone who wants to speak on your application, if you could give us a very brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, sir. My client was simply just repairing and replacing the old wood on his existing deck. It didn't change at all in any area or any of the projections. There was an order to comply, so we prepared drawings for a building permit. At such time, it didn't go through zoning. We went through the PPR and found out that the existing deck as built didn't comply with the new bylaws. So here we are in front of the committee trying to ensure that the existing deck and house, for that matter, complies with the current bylaws.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. I would ask the applicant to tell me that variance number 1 is saying side yard setback. He is not specifying which side. Which side do you mean?
On the drawing, it shows the south side setback.
Okay, so.
But you're not writing south side.
I believe it's clear on the drawing and what the intent is. This came from a zoning review. So it was probably missed when the zoning reviewer stated what the variance required is on what yard it is.
Okay, you mentioned it was south side, so you should mention south. My next question is when the deck was originally constructed.
I'm unaware of that, as my client isn't the original owner of the house.
Okay.
And when did you get the OTC, order to comply, from the city?
I would say probably about 6 months ago.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, sir, variance number 1, it says the side yard setback is 0.855 meters. That really should read the south side yard setback is 0.855 meters. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We would appreciate if that could be added to the staff report.
Okay, thank you. So variance number 1 will be amended to read the south side yard setback is 0.855 meters. Thank you. Do you have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have an Aliza Lavie. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Madam, can I get your full name and address, please?
Aliza Lavie, 15 ANETA Circle, North York.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, I have lived here for 32 years. The current owners of this house have changed the footprint by adding a huge deck in the back, including a wall on the deck. They have removed all the trees on the property. There were at least 7 or 8 large trees that were removed illegally. And they have removed all the grass that existed, and they paved the whole thing. So there is absolutely no soft landscaping there, and it's all concrete and walls. Aside from that, the fence, the 6-foot fence, was replaced by a much taller fence. So I have, all I have in front of me is a big wall and jutting out all the way halfway into almost to the pool that takes up half the backyard. And I have no trees, no privacy from them. And it actually looks absolutely hideous.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I will go back to the agent. Mr. Bornstein, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You heard the comments from Ms. Levy, if you'd like to respond.
It is my understanding that all of the work in the back was done by the previous owner, and that the pool is existing and the deck was existing and it was just redone.
Okay, so, all right. In terms of, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Can I get a motion on this application, please, Mr. Hunt?
I was going to ask a specific question.
How
long has...
Mr. Hunt, can you speak up a bit?
Yes, how long has the current owner occupied this home?
I'm not aware of that information, sir.
Oh, you don't know how long the current owner's been there?
No, I don't. I believe it's probably about 4 or 5 years.
And my second question is, are you aware whether or not the current owner removed the trees the other speaker referred to, or were they removed prior to his occupancy?
It is my understanding that they were removed prior to his occupancy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunt. Thank you, sir. Mr. Hunt, any further questions?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Can I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, although staff has recommended differently, but I find that 1991 Committee of Adjustment decision, I do not find variance number 2 to be complying. There was no mention of that in that decision, and also variance number 7 wasn't mentioned in that case. But presently, variance number 2, deck coverage 7% wasn't appealed at that time, and now did the variance number 7. Soft landscape 18% was applied. Both above are not minor variances. They do not comply with zoning bylaws, master plan intent, and not a suitable development. Therefore, I move this application be refused.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. We have a motion for Mr. Khan to refuse the application. Can I have someone second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Kidd dissenting. Sir, your application has been refused. We're now on item number 36, 141 Sultana Avenue. I have 2 people registered to speak. But before we do that, we will take a quick break. Thank you very much. Thank you. Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Committee's back in session. We're now on item number 36, which is 141 Sultana Avenue. I have two people registered to speak, and that first person is the agent, Richard Idles, I-D-E-L-S. Are you there, sir?
I am, Mr. Chairman, yes.
Yes, sir. Can you speak up a bit?
I am here, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, thank you. Can I get your full name and address?
Richard Idles, OAA. My address is 80 North Meadow Crescent, Thornhill, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. I've gone through your file. I note that there's a couple of reports from the city with regards to your application. One's from Urban Forestry. They have a recommended condition. There's also one from City Planning dated the 6th of August, and it's recommending refusing variance number 6 regarding the reduction in front yard landscaping. Now, have you had the opportunity to review that report, sir?
Yes, we have, and we have tried to address it. We have addressed, I will go through the variances, Mr. Chairman, and I'll explain how we've addressed those concerns.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I wanted to ask. So I wanted to ask if you would, if you wanted to defer the application to discuss it further with city planning, or if you wanted to proceed today.
Yeah, we will proceed today.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you could give the, I have one other person registered to speak, sir. So if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
First of all, just to give a brief outline, the family is growing and needs more space, so they're taking advantage of the space actually that is part of the existing house. We're only adding a little bit in terms of coverage to the back, which is really just a walk-in closet. And over the existing, and we're using the existing garage. There is another garage, as I think the committee is probably aware, in the back of the house, that the existing garage that was part of the house itself is becoming livable space, and also part of the existing porch is also livable space. We understand there is a very serious concern by the planning department. So I'll go through quickly the variances, and I'll show you how we've addressed them. The first variance is speaking about the porch on the west side of the house. I would just like to point out that variance is a consequence of the new location of the kitchen, which is on that side of the house, and the need for a porch. Most people have a kitchen in the back of the house if it's a new home, but this is the new kitchen will actually be on the side. We feel that it's minor, and one of the main reasons is that there's a large school with a very large lot immediately to the west of our property, and we don't feel that it gives that it impinges on any other property. So that was the first variance, which the city or the planning did not have an issue with. We will remove number 2. Number 2 is one of 3 variances that we're going to remove. Actually, one of 4 variances that relate to this parking spot and hard landscaping that the planning department was objecting to. So number 2 is to be removed.
Okay, just to be clear, sir, variance number 2 is being deleted?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Number 3, we believe, is very minor, 31.3%, and that's just the addition of that small closet in the back of the house. Number 4, a platform without main walls, etc. So that we were asking for that, and that the reason for that, the reason for this variance is just to get a usable landing on the front stair. That's what this deck is. It's a landing. So we didn't. So anyway, that's what we're asking for this. It'll become clear as we go why. Now that we had sent into the committee a new drawing showing the proposed. Since we're where the proposed hardscape to the left, this drawing that you're showing, Mr. Chairman, is going to be now soft landscaping. I'm a little surprised that the committee doesn't have our latest drawing that we've sent in showing the proposal. When I get to well, let me just finish the variances. So number 5 is the next one. 5 is going to be also eliminated. That also has to do.
So can you back?
Yes.
So variance number 5 is being deleted as well as variance number 2?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All of these variances have to do with the same issue, and that's the hard landscaping in the driveway.
Okay.
The existing driveway.
So variances 2 and 5 are deleted, and variances 1, 3, and 4 remain.
Okay. Now we're going to do the next 2 are also to be removed.
Hang on, sir.
Variance.
Sir, you only have
Yeah.
5 variances. Which you're deleting
We have
variances 2, which is the proposed hard landscape.
We have 5 variances.
That's being deleted.
I have 7.
Variance number 5, which is the proposed hard landscaping as well, that's being deleted as well, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So you only have variances number 1, 3, and 4 that you're requesting approval for.
Mr. Chairman, if I can interrupt for a second, the notice that you have in your agenda is not the same as the one that's on the screen.
Yeah, this is what I'm.
Nor is it the one that was sent out. A revised one was sent out, and unfortunately, the application technician didn't update the members' packages with the revised public notice. But the revised public notice is on the screen now.
Did the correct public notice go out to the public?
It did. Yes.
Hang on a second. The stuff we had in our agenda is not the correct one.
Correct. But the revised public hearing notice is on the screen, and the revised public hearing notice did go out to the public.
My apologies, committee members. Okay, I'm sorry, sir. We had the wrong notice in our agenda. So if you could, my apologies for interrupting. Can you go through the again? Start up, I guess, at variance number 5.
Okay, number 5 is to be 5, 6, and 7 basically are all eliminated.
5, 6, and 7?
Yes, our front landscaping now is, we are complying with the front landscaping. That's number 6. And number 5 and 7 both have to do with the former car, the former garage and the former driveway, which is becoming the soft landscaping. So those are also eliminated.
Okay, so just to kind of put this into perspective, this is the hard landscaping you're deleting is basically the hard landscaping that exists in front of the existing garage that you're converting into habitable space. Is that correct? And all that area.
That's correct.
And all that area will be returned to soft landscaping.
Correct.
Perfect. Okay then. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
There was a request for forestry. We have hired a arborist. The arborist has already gotten her report into forestry, and whatever the forestry there's basically two. You can actually see on this drawing the 2 circles right in the front of the house. So those are two city trees on city property, and I think that was a concern. And so we have an arborist report which documents all of that, and I'm sure we will be protecting it as requested.
Terrific. Thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Adam, it's not your problem, but actually what I got for reading were 5 variances. When I was reading the recommendation from the staff, I found 7 variances. Now, since you have...
Mr. Khan, just a moment. I just specified previously that the notice we got in our agendas is the wrong notice. I'll just ask Ms. Reed, can you put that notice back up there? So there's that, the one we should have gotten in our agenda has 7 variances, not 5. That's what, look what's on the screen. Okay, that's what's on the screen. Don't go by the agenda. Don't go by the notice that's in our agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My
Mr.
question
Khan.
to,
Thank you.
no, sir, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, Adele, I have
Yes,
a
yes, sir.
question, and that is your variance number 7. Would you like this one to be deleted as well?
Let's just look at number 7. Number 7 is, if you, the minimum required parking space must have an minimum, the proposed hard landscaping could be a part of a parking space with dimensions. All this is also referring to the existing driveway in front of the existing garage. That driveway is to become soft landscaping. The staff member in the zoning department she happened to make, basically three or four variances over the same issue. She just worded it differently.
Okay, so just to confirm, sir, and just again, Mr. Khan, variances number 2 on the variance you have up on the screen, not in your agenda. The variances on the notice that are on the screen, variances number 2, 5, 6, and 7 are being deleted, and they relate to the the existing driveway that's in front of the existing garage that's being converted to habitable space. So it's being turned over to soft landscaping.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. We'll go to any further questions of the speaker? We'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Dina Weidberg. Are you there? Dina Weidberg, are you there?
One moment, Chair. They were present on the call a moment ago, so let me just, it appears they have left the call. They were present, though, recently.
Do you want me to hold this down, Mr. Wills?
No, no.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members, the local area resident does not appear to be on the call anymore.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have no other persons registered to speak. We've heard from the applicant. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could we get a motion on this application? And please note it's in reference to the variances that were posted up on the screen, not in your agenda. So variances number 2, 5, 6, and 7 on that notice are being deleted. And those were the variances that dealt with the variances required to keep hard surface landscaping in front of the existing garage that's being converted into habitable space. Now they're going to convert it into soft landscaping. I hope that's clear. If I could get a motion on this revised application, please, Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Having heard from the applicant and the removal of several of the
Mr. Hunt, could you speak up a bit?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Having heard from the applicant and his testimony to remove variances 2, 5, 6, and 7, I would move approval of this application subject to the August 12th urban forestry requirements.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. Thank you,
sir. Item number 37, 392 Willowdale Avenue. I have I have one person registered to speak. That's Ida Evangelista. Are you there, Miss Evangelista? Ms. Evangelista, are you there?
And Mr. Chair, remember she is present on the call. She's a call-in user. I have unmuted her. So go ahead, Ida, if you can hear us.
Hi, my apologies. I didn't realize I was on mute. Yes, I am here.
No problem. Thank you. Just wanted to, going through your application, madam, note that there's a report on file from Transportation Services dated the 11th of August. They have no objection to the proposed driveway width. There's one from City Planning dated the 19th of August. They're recommending modifying variance number 3 for the proposed lot coverage from 32.5% to 32%. And then if the application is approved, it's conditional on constructing the proposal substantially in accordance with the north elevation and south elevation drawings. Date stamped as received on August 4th, 2021, submitted to the committee, attached as attachments 1 and 2 to their report. And there's also a letter from Councillor Filion, which came in on the 19th of August, basically indicating that his support for the city planning recommendations. So I just wanted to ask if you had the opportunity to see that material, madam.
Mr. Chair, yes, I have. And I would like to add the plans that you have in front of you reflect 32%. So the public hearing notice, the change will be to variance number 3, which will now read 32%.
Terrific. So it
And
currently reads 32.5%. You're reducing it to 32%.
that is correct, Mr. Chair, which the councillor is satisfied with that, and so is planning staff.
And
And the plans you have in front of you does reflect that.
Great, thank you. And you have you're not proposing any additional changes?
We have removed variance number 2. The driveway is now 5.8 meters.
Okay, so variance number 2 is deleted?
That is correct.
Okay, so variance 2 is deleted, and variance number 3 is reduced from 32.5% to 32%.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Okay, I have no other persons registered to speak. I'm just going to ask Ms. Evangelista, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
Through you, Mr. Chair, and to the members, I did submit a very detailed submission that outlines all the variances. Together with my submission, we are in support of planning staff in substantially in accordance to the south and north, because the main wall height is taken to the peak above the window, which is in the gable of the roof. So I believe with our submission in great detail, I respectfully submit that this is in accordance to forecast and characteristic to the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam, my question is about your variance number 1. Your platform is higher than the floor level. I believe it is the second floor that I am talking about. How high is it?
Yeah. We have a balcony on the second floor, and I will tell you it is leading off of the master bedroom. And if you would just bear with me for one moment. The balcony, 18954. Just one second, if you could just allow me to do a very quick calculation. So I would say it would probably be approximately 6 meters off established grade. And through you, Mr. Chair, if Mr. Khan would like us to add privacy screening on the ends, we are receptive to that.
Okay, thank you, madam. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr.
But
Chair.
you'll see.
Madam, my concern is the differential in the floor and the platform. How you are going to resolve that when it is high?
No, through you, Mr. Chair. So that balcony on the second floor, that's an exit off of the master bedroom.
Ms. Evangelista, that's the small wraparound balcony that's on, that we see on the upper left-hand corner of the drawing that's on the screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this revised application? Note that variance number 2 has been deleted. Variance number 3 has been reduced from 32.5% to 32%. So if I could get a motion on this application? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I do agree that this is characteristic of the neighborhood, and I do believe that the agent has worked on the various concerns outlined in the staff report, as well as satisfies the Councillor Fillion's concerns as well. So I'll motion to approve this application and make it subject to the modifications that you've already cited here, Mr. Chair, and through the agent. And as well, the agent did suggest privacy screening for that balcony at the top, even though it's minor. I think just in case there is overlook issues, I would motion to have that as well installed 1.5 meters from the floor to the height of the privacy screen. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to clarify, Ms. Sankar, you still wanted that condition that it's conditional on constructing the proposal substantially in accordance with the north elevation, blah, blah, blah? That was in the planning report? Okay.
That is in the August 10th planning report. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Does the, thank you. Can I get a motion on, can I get someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been approved subject to city planning conditions and a condition about installing privacy screening along that second floor balcony.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 38, 77 Walder Avenue is deferred.
39.
Item number 38 has been deferred. We're now on item number 39, 75 Risebrough Avenue. So I have 2 people registered to speak. I have the agent, Jonathan Benskowski. Are you there?
Good morning, sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
We have, sir, I'm just going through your file. Let me just get, I note that we only had 1 staff comment on file with your application. That's from Urban Forestry, a recommended condition. We have 1 other person registered to speak, sir, on your application. So if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your application.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that, sir. Mr. Chair, there might be a little confusion. I believe the other person registered to speak is the project architect.
Okay, so, and who is that?
Manny Yaganagi.
Okay, if you could ask him to speak then and make sure that he gives us his name and address.
No, actually, everyone, if we could take a moment here for a second. Jonathan, there actually is an area resident that's here to speak.
Oh, sorry, Adam, because I know I had some confusion on registering.
It's all good.
Oh, okay, thank you.
My apologies.
Okay.
Yes, so the proposal before you is for a new two-story dwelling. This is of a size and type that is found within the neighborhood itself. The variance that would probably jump out at you would be the variance for the building length. If we could go to the floor plans, please, and go on to the proposed site plan. Perfect. If we could just zoom up a little bit and zoom into the boxed area of that length.
Sorry, Jonathan, where do you want to zoom in?
There's two reasons why this is somewhat of an inflated number. The first one being is that the connection to the cold cellar in the basement is structural in nature, and that is not visible from above the deck, but that is included in the building depth itself. So that's part of the reason for the increase of going up to the 18.98 meters. In terms of the dwelling itself, the livable portion of the dwelling minus a breakfast bay on the first floor is 17.5 meters. That breakfast bay on the first floor does extend past the portion, but that is only a one-story projection. In terms of the main wall height, again, those are for portions of the main wall that are visible from the side, but are actually in the front projection of the dwelling. The side yard setbacks at 1.5 meters are also what's found in the neighborhood and allow for functional access to the rear yard. And in terms of the height, the actual height is basically from the crown of the road of the Old North York zoning bylaw. And there is significant difference from the center line of the road to the actual established grade. That's why we also see an increase of the maximum first floor height under the Old North York zoning bylaw at 1.69, where 1.5 is what is required. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you, sir. And does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll move to the next person on the list. I have a Manny Yaganak.
No, Mr. Chair, that's the
agent.
that's the part of the agent team.
Thank you. Go to the next person, Zubing Cheng. Are you there?
Yes, speaking.
Yes. Can I get your Can I get your full name and address, please?
Okay. My name is Gertie Chai. I'm speaking on behalf of the joint owners, Mrs. Zubing Cheng and Mr. Kairong He, who are living in number 73 Risebrough, which is the immediate neighbor on the west side of number 75.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you could please proceed.
Okay, we have two issues. The first issue is regarding the safety concern in winter, because from the plan we understand that, well, first of all, the owners and the residents of 3 generations, being the youngest under 2 years of age, they often use the side door on the east all year round. If the west side yard of number 75 setback is 1.52 meter as requested in the variances 2, while the height of the exterior main wall facing the side lot line will go up to 8 meter as requested is in variances 5, and the maximum height of the building extending to 9.56 meter as requested in variance 6. The snow accumulated on the roof of number 75 will fall and drop onto the side yard between the 2 houses, where the east side door is located. So the extra piling of this snow at the door and the side yard there would cause danger and inconveniences to the residents of number 73 who would be using the east side door in winter. This is exactly the cause of repeated conflict situation in winter between number 80 and number 82 of Risebrough, the other side of the road actually, that is due to the side yard between the two said houses are narrower than the zoning bylaw. The accumulated snow on the roof of the higher house falls and dropped onto the basement window of the lower house across the fence. The situation might be aggravated due to the steep gradients of the roof of the higher house. I understand that this is not the intention of either party, yet the actual inconvenience and danger did happen in winter, leading to complaints and conflicts between the two houses. As a matter of fact, police was involved in the past winter. People in the neighborhood all witnessed this situation, and I believe the city and the councillor of Willowdale also received complaints and are aware of the situation there. Foreseeing the similar circumstances would happen between number 75 and number 73, the owners of number 73 now strongly object to the variances proposed exceeding the zoning bylaw limit. And the second issue that is regarding privacy concern. According to the construction plan, we understand there will be a two-leveled rear deck on the west side of the backyard of number 75. The upper deck will be well above 3 meters from the ground of the backyard. And the privacy issues becomes a major concern if the proposed finished first floor height exceed 1.5 meter. And at the same time, the proposed building length is exceeding the bylaw limit of 17 meter, while the proposed rear deck projecting further more than 2.5 meter from the rear wall as requested in variances number 7, number 4, and number 3 respectively. Imagine a rear upper deck of the immediate neighbor that with the height of the deck way taller than the existing fan, which is 1.7 meter, the fan's height between the two houses. And because of the extended length of the house and the taller upper deck is extending further towards the mid length of the backyard, overlooking from 73 to 70, overlooking from 75 to house 73. There will be no privacy at all and obscuring the view of the residents in number 73. Therefore, I have to speak out today to object to the proposed variances exceeding the zoning bylaw limit. Thank you for your attention. So I hope you understand what I'm explaining.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I have one other person registered as a speaker. They may be from the same household. Kwirong He? Okay, all right, thank you. We'll go back to Mr. Benskowski. Are you there, sir?
I am, Mr. Chair.
Yes, so you heard the comments from the previous speaker, sir, if you'd like to reply to them.
Yes, to deal with the side yard setback first, 1.52 meters or 5 feet is definitely ample space to allow any type of snow, load, rainwater, or any type of water that is to be retained on the site. And that is something that would be handled through a grading plan if this were to be approved. I'm fairly confident in 1.52 meters. All water is able to be contained within the site itself. To go to the second point, and sorry, lastly, I'm not sure if the person was saying that this house was involved in a police matter. I don't have any knowledge of that or anything like that. To go to the second matter, if we could go back to the site plan, please. To deal with the length as well as that platform of a deck that comes off of the first floor. If we could go to the site plan, yes. So just again, remember that the actual length of the building that is adjacent to number 73 Risebrough is 17.5 meters. So the portion adjacent is only asking for a relief of an extra 0.5 meters. What I would say is that 0.5 meters length as well as the side yard setbacks do not result in a variance for coverage. The coverage is well below what is permitted. Lastly, in terms of dealing with the deck, if we could go to one of the side elevations, please. This is a property that does have an extreme grade change as we go from front to back. I would be happy to install a privacy screen adjacent to number 73, but this variance is generally caused by that grade change as it goes from the front to the rear as we see it here. So that deck is naturally going to be pushed up just because of the natural grade of the property. And again, I actually believe this is the elevation facing number 73. I'd be happy to put a privacy screen on that first floor, but this variance really is caused by the grade change. In addition, I'm not sure. 0.5 meters of the request over the 2.5 meters to 3 meters really is a great impact when we could put a privacy screen there that would lessen that impact. And I think that that pretty much answers the questions in my opinion.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? If I could get a motion on this application, please. Please note that the only condition from staff is urban forestry. Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the concerns of the neighbor, and I hope some of her concerns were answered by the agent for the applicant. I think I probably was persuaded that this application is appropriate and of a minor nature. I'm going to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to forestry condition.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 40, 151 Rosewell Avenue. I have 5 people registered to speak. The first is the agent, Hamad Imami. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Hamid Imami, 11 Hudson Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. I looked through your file. I note that there's only one staff comment in relation to your proposal. That's recommended conditions from urban forestry. We have persons here registered to speak, so if you'd like to make a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal, then if you would please proceed.
Sure. Existing building is a 2-story brick and stucco sloped roof house with 3 bedrooms built in 1925. The house is 96 years old and it's in a rough shape. The owner and her family have lived in the address for a while and they would like to renovate and develop the house. The parking space on Rosewell Avenue is an issue, especially in the winter. Also, there is a fire hydrant in front of the house that makes it very difficult to park in front of the house. And the backyard is not accessible since the mutual driveway on the north of the property is not wide enough. It's about 2 meters. My client would like to have a garage and driveway and develop a 96 years old house for a growing family and make it energy efficient and up to code. We have requested for 5 minor variances. The first one is about building lengths. That's like 14 meters is allowed, and we requested for 15.41, like 1.41 meter extra. The permitted floor space index is 0.6 times the area of the lot, and we requested for 0.78. The maximum height of the building is 10 meters, and we are 9.9. But in the front, we requested for a parapet that's a little bit higher. Instead of 7.5 meters, the client requested for 8.69 meters. The next item is about the landscaping, and because we need to keep the mutual driveway on the north side, then the soft landscaping is less than 75%. And at the end, because it's a renovation, the existing condition on the south side, the distance between the property line and existing building is 0.29 meters, and the eave troughs is on the property line. Then we haven't changed anything on the south side, but because of the new roof on the second floor, then the eave troughs is the same. That's the reason for roof eaves that fits minor variance. The requested variances are minor in nature, and the general intent and purpose of the city's zoning bylaws maintained. Then I hope the Committee of Adjustment and Chair consider it as an approval. That's it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Imami, I have two concerns. Variance number 2, your floor space index is 0.78, very high than allowable maximum. And my other concern is variance number 5 is 0.04 from the south line. These are not minor.
Right. Mr. Chair, the floor index, there are lots of buildings, lots of development in the area that are more than 0.78. I can give you a number of properties like 206 Crackhurst, 19 Court Lake, 210 Albertus. That's all of them are more than 0.78. In terms of number 5, it's an existing condition. The only reason it remains at the same location because the new roof is about 6 feet above existing one, but we haven't changed anything. Number 5 is the same as the existing roof eaves. Nothing has changed. In the extension, the setback is at the same as bylaws. What is in number 5 requested is same as existing one.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll go to the next.
If you go, Mr. Chair, for the number 5, if you look at the drawing, the last page, page 20, may I have the drawing number 20?
It's coming up.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I move on to the next speaker? Any further?
Mr. Chair, I think Hamid's still trying to explain one of his
all right,
points.
Thank you. Okay, here we are.
Okay, as you can see, the dotted line, the roof dotted line shows the existing one, and the roof eaves is exactly on the property line. And when we build the second floor and the new roof, it's at the same location, even we move it back for about 6 inches, 15 centimeters. That's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? We'll move on to the next person on the list. I have a Kathleen Kerr. Are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, Kathleen is not present on the call, and they did not supply a phone number, so I can't check if they have a call-in user.
Thank you, Mr. Wills. Next person on the list is Eli Aaron. Are you there, sir?
I am.
Yes, Mr. Aaron, if you'd like to give us your full name and address.
Eli Aaron. I'm representing the Lytton Park Residents Organization, 2708 Young Street.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
I am here because the Lytton Park Residents Organization is supporting local residents on Rosewell Avenue in opposing this application. We've heard from several residents. They're all opposed to this application. There's a number of letters of objection, and there's zero support for this application as far as we're aware. The 0.78 FSI is not minor at all. That's a 30% in excess of the permitted FSI. And I know I heard the applicant say that there's lots of houses that are 0.78 or higher. There are not. The vast majority of houses in this area are between 0.5 and 0.7. It is highly unusual to see anything above 0.7 in this neighborhood. That proposed FSI does not respect the prevailing character of the neighborhood. But what's even as important, if not more important to consider, is that this is a fairly small lot. And so the way that this FSI is being accommodated is through the length. And there's a restriction in this area that permits only a length of 14 meters, but the lots on this block are so shallow that the adjacent houses are only 10 meters, and this house is 15.4. So in other words, the first 17 feet of the rear yards on both sides are now going to be staring at this huge wall, and we do not find that to be appropriate. Generally speaking, this house does not reflect the character of the neighborhood. The houses on this block generally have a front wall height of 7 meters, and this proposal is for 8.7 meters. So the front wall is almost 6 feet taller than all the other houses on the block. And we don't find that that respects the prevailing character of the neighborhood as is required by section 4.1.5 of the official plan. There are no integral garage houses on this block. This house has an integral garage. All the other houses on the block have the first floor very close to the ground. And in this case, the first real floor with windows is 7 feet raised off the ground. And that does not reflect the character of the neighborhood at all. So we really believe that this proposal does not meet the 4-part test for a minor variance. We believe it's not minor. It's not desirable because it's going to adversely impact the neighborhood. It's not in line with the zoning bylaw, and as I stated, it doesn't respect the official plan neighborhoods policies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? And being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Katherine Jarmain. Are you there? Ms. Jarmain, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can I
Yes,
get your full name and address?
Yes, my name is Katherine Jarmain. I am the owner of the house at 155 Rosewell Avenue.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So my house, 155 Rosewell, is located 2 lots to the north of the property under discussion. I have 3 children, and this is our home. I've owned this house since 2012, and we are long-term residents. We don't leave we don't leave town regularly on weekends, and our home is our primary place of recreation. We have a patio in the backyard where we like to spend time with friends and family. I'm exceedingly concerned about how this house, as proposed, would impact my family's enjoyment of our property. It is shockingly large compared to the existing house on that lot, which is comparable to the prevailing density of the other houses on the block. What is proposed for the floor space index, as others have noted, 0.78 is 30% beyond the maximum allowed, and that is not minor. And if you look on the plans where you see the profile of the proposed house relative to the existing house, it appears to be at least twice as big. First, comment on the length. Whereas the length of the existing house is less than 10 meters, as the other commenter noted, which is consistent with the prevailing length on the block, the proposed length would take it to over 15 meters, which is over 50% longer than the status quo and over a meter longer than the maximum permitted. Second, the height. No other house on this side of the block has such a height. with the top of the roof 6.5 feet higher than the current roof. With the height and the length combined, there will be effectively a large wall there. This large wall would be visible from my backyard, will give us the sense of being enclosed, and will negatively impact the sunlight in our yard. Now we see sun and sky, but in the future we would see a wall. Moreover, the upper windows and balcony would negatively impact our privacy as we spend time outside in our own private space. I don't want people to be able to watch my children or me. We should be able to enjoy our own property without worrying that people are looking down on us. From the front, the exterior wall height does not fit with the prevailing height on the block. The proposed landscaping at 23% is far less than the requirement of 75%. The greenery of the street and this leafy neighborhood are an important part of the character, and this proposal is out of line with that character. Collectively, these proposals are a wholesale departure from the prevailing physical character of houses on Rosewell Avenue. In conclusion, I strongly object to this proposal. These do not represent minor variances to the zoning, and they would permit the construction of an excessively large house that goes far beyond what is permitted. For my family, this house would negatively impact the sunlight, privacy, and overall enjoyment of our property. I respectfully request the committee to hear the concerns of the neighbors and read the other letters in the file. I ask that you abide by the letter and the spirit of the existing bylaws and the official plan, which exist for good reasons, and deny these proposals. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a John Darlow. Are you there?
I'm here.
Mr. Darlow, can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. John Darlow, 149 Rosewell, which is the adjacent property to the south.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Sure. Thanks for letting me speak today. We've lived in this home for almost 10 years with my wife and 2 daughters. Our lot is only 75 feet deep and shorter than 151 Rosewell, so the proposed development would basically enclose that side of our yard, impacting the views, air movement, and daily enjoyment of our home. Imagine someone building a wall, a brick wall, almost 30 feet high that encloses your yard. This is what is being proposed here, and we would have to look at this every day. I simply feel the variances being requested, especially with regard to the length and density, are not minor in nature at all, and there are no precedents for it along our block. With regard to variance number 2, the requested density is 30% higher than the existing zoning bylaw. The current bylaws are generous enough to permit a redevelopment of this home over and above the current home, and the owner would not be harmed by staying within zoning, whereas we and the adjacent property to the north, which could potentially be impacted even more by having sunlight blocked there, and the other neighbors along this block would be negatively impacted. I kindly ask that you not approve this development as proposed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go back to the agent.
Mr. Chair, actually, before we do so, we actually have one more area resident that was a late register, Lillian Sabrian. If we could have them speak.
Okay, thank you. Is that person there?
Go ahead, Lillian.
Yes, I'm Lilian Sabarian.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, sure. My name is Lilian Sabarian. I'm the owner of 151 Rosewell Avenue in this area.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application, and I recommend that you please don't repeat stuff we've already heard.
Mr. Chairman, I think she's the owner of the property.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She said her address is 151 Rosewell.
Madam, you have an agent who is speaking, so we've already heard from him. So
yes.
Okay, so your agent should be the one doing the speaking.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, so if there's someone here to, is the agent there, Mr. Imami?
Yes.
Sir, you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to respond to their concerns.
Yes, sir. change is inevitable. That means we have 7 houses on the east block of Rosewell Avenue that have been built in 1920s, about 100 years ago. And this is the time for change. This house, 151 Rosewell Avenue, is the first house to be developed in the area, in the East Block. And with respect with all the comments, the allowed building length is 14 meter, and we requested for 1.4 meter extra. And because we have the garage inside the building, that's the main point, to build a little bit longer building to have proper proportion inside for living room, dining room on the ground floor, and for the master bedroom, and like interior design. That's the main reason for extra length. And because 14 meter is allowed, that means for the neighbors on the north side and south side, they will see about 4.5 meter of the brick wall. And we had that discussion with our neighbor in 149 and explained what's going on and what's the reason for extension. In terms of the height, zoning bylaw allowed 10 meter, and the proposed building is 9.9 meter in height, and just the parapet and the front wall in front is 1.61 meter extra. With that, I believe the variances requested are minor, and I would like to ask the committee to consider the development for a 100-year-old building that's going to happen in the area to be approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, there being none, could I get a motion on this application? Please note that there is only one recommended condition from city staff, and that's from urban forestry.
Mr. Chair.
No, sir, you've already spoken. We're in committee now. Ms. Sankar?
Hi, through you, Mr. Chair. This was a really tough one because on the onset, looking at it and looking through the application, I would have thought it would have been a little bit simpler. You know, I understood the initial comments from the agent. However, in hearing the detailed stories and the concerns of the debutantes, and knowing the character of that neighborhood, I don't agree with the agent that it's time for a change, and because it's been 100 years old. That to me tells of the character of that neighborhood, and sometimes you've got to build within what you've got. And so for that reason, you know, I just don't feel that this meets the 4 tests for me. And so I'm going to refuse this application. That's my motion.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion from Ms. Sankar to refuse the application. Can I get someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been unanimously refused. Thank you very much. We'll go to our next application, which is Mr. Hunt, you have a conflict. It's item 41, which is 31 St. Denis Drive. And
hello,
yes. Let's see, I have one person registered to speak. That's a Sidney Paul. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am here.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sidney Paul, 522 Mount Pleasant Road is my office. My home address is 168 Ava Road, both in Toronto.
Okay, thank you. Sir, I have the only report I have on file with your application is one from Transportation Services dated the 12th of August. They want your application deferred again so you can revise your parking study. I wanted to know if you wanted to defer the application, or do you want it heard again today?
We believe we have sufficient information to respond to his questions in his report, and also for you to be able to make a reasonable, astute decision on this matter today. We don't want to delay or come back to the committee and spend more of your time on this project.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you could give us then, if you could give us a presentation then on the information you'd like to present in support of your application, please proceed.
Okay, so we sent in some documentation, further documentation yesterday upon learning that the transportation engine department had put in this request for a what do you call it, a deferral. We don't believe that that's necessary. The information we provided is about the number of vacant spaces in the parking lot that are leased, and presently for leased parking there's 102 spaces available, and there are 78 that are vacant on the ground on grave related parking, and in the garage there are 203 parking spaces available, and there are vacant spaces of 102. So there's a total of 305 spaces that are available for leasing. 125 of those are actually leased, and 180 spaces are vacant, which is way more than 50% of those that are more than 50% are vacant, and therefore there is really no need for additional parking on the site in order to justify the 5 new sorry, I'm getting myself mixed up, new units being proposed for the building. Now, even if, and presently, at the time of this, when we did our parking study, there were 8 vacant apartment units. Now there are 13 vacant apartment units. However, the number of leased spaces has not changed since the time of the parking study in June to this date in August. So there are, in all cases, there's less than 4% vacancy rate for the apartment units in the building, in the complex, which is essentially means it's 100%, essentially 100% capacity, and therefore there is more than sufficient parking to allow for these units to be built. I believe that well, we talked with the zoning examiner again. We've talked with the planning department, and we've also tried to reach out to the transportation department, and they had all understood what the zoning requirement was, that there is only a deficiency of 5 parking spaces, and that this request, even if all 13 of those existing units and the 5 new units each had a car, they would be able to lease it, and there would still be less than 50% occupancy of the parking spaces available to the tenants. The parking study during the hours that it was done was during peak times when people would be using the retail, and peak times when the mosque would be in operation, and there was nowhere near capacity used in the site during those time periods. These numbers that I provided you show that at night, when he wanted the study to be done, there would still be more than 50% vacancy, and there'd be less than no parking being used for the retail areas, the mosque area, certainly not for the daycare. there may be some of the visitor parking used, but it would definitely be way less than is necessary to meet the requirements. As I said, planning has no objection. This is an initiative of the city to have more rental accommodation throughout the city. This is something that the owners of this building are more than happy to assist with by providing these additional 5 units. I have done 12 of these applications throughout the city of Toronto over the last 5 years. This is the first time that the transportation department has even put in a notion that something was out of order, which it is not. And I believe for those reasons,
Sir, can you summarize?
Yeah, the application, I believe, meets the 4 tests of the Act. I believe we are well within reason, and there are no real objections. Even the transportation department isn't objecting, they're just asking for the information which I've just provided you.
Okay, so
Thank
sir, can I ask you, there's 346 dwelling units in this complex, correct?
Correct, yes.
How many of them are occupied?
Well, there are 346 today. There are 333 occupied.
Okay, 333 are occupied. So even with that relatively low vacancy rate, you had this huge amount of surplus parking. So I probably tend to agree with you that getting nickel and dimed over 5 parking spaces is probably a little silly. Anyhow, that's, I'll just ask the committee, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan.
Thank you, sir. My question is, why don't you take the deferral advice of the transportation services? If you're not taking the advice, then they have already requested that the survey that you conducted between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. is not the representative. What they are recommending that survey should have been done between 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. I mean, why do you object?
We don't object. We don't see the reason. There would not be any, you would not find the parking lot anywhere fuller than it is between 6 and 10 p.m. because once you're into the evening, over 50% of the parking lot is empty because those spaces are not being leased by tenants, and they're not being occupied by tenants. It's not, the heaviest time is going to be between 6 and 10 p.m. at night. If you want, I can read you my comments from my parking transportation engineer who did the study, and that this is a standard study that's done at these times and is generally accepted throughout the by the transportation department in general. We don't have objection, but there's no reason to, because we have so much surplus room in the property. There's not a traffic problem. No one in the building, no one in the area has made an objection on any reason, and particularly on a reason that there is insufficient parking to allow for these additional units.
Sir, you may
okay, sir, if I may draw your attention to the variances that you have applied.
Yes.
Variance number 1, indoor amnesty is 0, while it is 10 square meters required. Your variance number 2 is deficient, number 3 is deficient, number 4, all they are deficient. How could be a good application that we should consider for approval?
These are really minor in nature. 5 apartment units are insignificant. It's less than 2% of the overall number of units within the building. 5 units is like, it's less than 2% increase in the number of units, which is very minor in nature. The amount of the exterior amenity space is more than sufficient. However, at the time when the building was built, there was no requirement for amenity space, and it met the requirements for a site plan approval at that time. this requirement is minor than the amount of amenity space, and there's nowhere to provide it. And the amount that's being requested would be so insignificant, it would make no difference to the overall building. They have facilities within it that you could consider as being amenity spaces, the mosque in particular, the daycare, and certainly outside there's tons. It is just not connected to an interior amenity space. It is connected to the mosque and to the daycare with respect to where they are. I don't believe that these are really, they are really minor items, insignificant in size. Now, for the last item, for the handicap parking, we are actually providing that additional missing space. It is shown on our drawings. It somehow got missed by the zoning examiner. We are going to provide that second handicap parking space regardless. It's up near the entrance. You got your hand. Yes, that's what, near the, bring it, your hand down more to the right. Down right there, that circle. There's a handicap spot being added there. No, and there's one over there. So there will be two, even though it's not noted in the application. If you wish to take that off, you can. We will provide the space regardless. It is there for us to be able to do it. And the landlord is more than willing to add it, and will do so once we get through this process.
Okay, thank you, sir. Out of curiosity, you said you had, there are 337 occupied units in this building?
300, what, there were 346 less 13 is 333. Hold on a second. I'm on my call, be quiet. Sorry, my wife just came in the door. My apologies, sorry. I didn't expect that you guys would get to the second last appointment this early in the afternoon. I commend you on your efficiency today. Back to, what was your question?
How many occupied dwelling units are in the apartment complex now?
There's 300, well, there's 346 total units. There are 333 occupied. There are 13 vacancies.
I was just wondering, do you know how many of those units lease a parking space?
Yeah, I said that there are a total number of lease spaces of 125.
Okay.
That's all there are.
So
the demographics.
Out of the 333 units, only 125 units lease a parking space.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. That answers my question. Thank you.
And further, if I could just say one more thing to that, there is no evidence that there's any kind of significant amount of people illegally using parking overnight. They're not finding that they have to go and put up notices to ticket and tow people who are illegally using spots. It may be in the order of 5 to 10.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Sir, Mr. Paul, my simple question is, how many people come to the mosque for prayers?
The majority of the people who come to the mosque live in the building. I do not have numbers on how many people come to the mosque to prayer. But it is
mostly the people who come from the building and there is no motor vehicle parking involved.
Insignificant.
Insignificant. Thank you, sir.
That's borne out by the study and the time of the traffic study as well.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm persuaded that the the parking on this site is quite adequate. And given the need for rental housing in Toronto, I'm going to put a motion forward to accept this application
Okay, thank you.
without condition.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? That motion does not carry. Can I get another motion? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. You know, I'm finding that we're getting a lot of hearsay, and the only expertise that I've got here to rely on is what I've got in front of me, which is from transportation. That asks for a simple study to be done, whether it seems logical to you and everyone else that, you know, explaining it here is okay, telling me how many persons live within the area, how many people attend the mosque. I really don't know that because I'm not there and I haven't done the study. And I think transportation asks for something really simple, and they're the experts in here. And that's the due diligence that I would have loved to have seen in here. Now, listen, I understand that this is, it's pressured. It's a certain, you know, there is the need for housing. I understand that. I wish we had gone through this at the very beginning because you were asked, do you want to defer this application? I'm going to say that I'd like to make a motion still, and my colleagues may not agree with me, but I'm not willing to approve this application. So the best that I could do at this stage, and I know we've heard it and it's taken up everybody's time, but I still want to give you that opportunity. So I'd like you to defer this application. That's the motion I want to make, so that you can do your due diligence with transport, so that when it comes to folks like me, I can depend on the reliable expertise of someone who has actually understood that study. They have their parameters for which I am not aware of, that they oversee things. I would like that expertise. So, you know, I'm going to help you out by saying I'm not going to not approve it here, but I want to defer this application sine die until you get that study done.
Someone we have a motion from Ms. Sankar to defer. Can I get someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Kidd dissenting. Sir, your application has been deferred so that you can discuss your application further with Transportation Services. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 42, 78 Keewatin Avenue has been, that application has been closed, so our agenda for today is closed. So if I get a motion to adjourn the application, adjourn the meeting. Mr. Khan, all right. Ms. Sankar seconds. We're done. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great evening.
Everybody.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.